Hi, my name's Kelly Corcoran, and I'm the owner and operator of Love Garden Sounds, a record store in downtown Lawrence.
And I'm Lorson, and I work as an announcer and a producer and an editor at Kansas Public Radio in Lawrence. And Kelly and I are here to talk with you about making a playlist for your Party in Place event.
So, if you're going to have a party in place, you kind of want to have an idea of a theme for the night. Maybe you're having a group of friends, maybe they're new friends, maybe they're friends you already know. You should be thinking about their interests and tastes, and then try to contour that to some degree to a theme for the evening, something that can hold everybody's attention, or someone who's paying attention to all of the songs might be wowed by a thread that's lanced through them. But you also don't have to do any of that. You could just play songs that you would like to hear. Everything is about your comfort level with music and the music that you know. And if you're trying to introduce your friends to some new music, go ahead and do that. The rules aren't hard and fast, but you always have to remember to be flexible. Sometimes you'll feel like, hey, this isn't working as well and I want to change it up. Always feel that's the beauty of the modern world and music. You can always change what you're playing because you have the world at your fingertips.
So you have a lot of options, and that can feel kind of daunting because there's just so much music out there and there are so many different options. My suggestion is, let's say your Party in Place is specifically themed around, say, horror novels or something like that. Let's just say, pick one. Dracula?
Sure.
Frankenstein?
Let's go with Dracula.
Okay, so Dracula, right? You could, in fact, just go with pieces of music from various soundtracks of Dracula movies, and that's totally valid. That's kind of cool. Or you could pick music that's sort of from that time frame when the movie was made, for example, or from around the time when Bram Stoker was originally writing the novel.
Or just a bunch of Nick Cave songs.
Also an option. Or just generally spooky music, one way or the other. There are plenty of playlists out there that you can find that can either inspire you, or you could just go ahead and use on whatever music service you prefer. But you do have the option of cobbling together something that's entirely your own. Just keeping in mind, you could organize it by historical timeline. You could organize it by theme. You could organize it by music you just happen to like, music that makes you think about Dracula. You have so many options, it's kind of difficult to narrow it down. So that's why I would say, when you are putting together your Party in Place playlist, start maybe a week ahead of time, because you can, what I do when I'm making a playlist is I keep a little notebook with me and I just write down songs as I think of them. And then whenever I'm ready to make it, then I go through and I tick some off, like, oh, no, that's not a good idea. That's not at all. But keeping a running list for a couple of days before you go ahead and commit, that can be kind of fun, because you can turn that into a thing you just hang out and talk with your friends about. Like, hey, I'm putting together a bunch of Dracula-oriented songs. I'm going to start with Monster Mash. What should I do with after that? Like I said, the idea is for you to have fun with it. The idea is for you to create some kind of theme. But as Kelly was telling you, there's just nothing hard and fast about it. This is an opportunity for you to be extra creative. Another just fun thing to have in place to make your party really sing.
As you're putting it together, really the pacing of what you're trying to do is pretty important. Understand what's going to be happening at this party. How much are we going to be listening to the music? Sometimes people are going to turn it down because they're chatting. Sometimes you're going to want to primarily focus on the music. So think about the pacing of it. You probably don't want to play only punk rock songs if you're going to be talking to other people, because sometimes you have to yell over loud punk rock. Just think about where your situation is that you're going to apply this music, and think about who the audience is that's coming and what they're going to want to hear, but also throw them a curveball here or there.
You also want to keep in mind the kind of music that you're playing with regard to what you're doing. Are you going to be talking about a book that you love? Maybe you don't want it to be all, 130 beat per minute disco music. That's maybe not necessarily the most useful choice if you're going to be talking about, say, Finnegan's Wake, or if you've decided for whatever reason you and your friends really party with Cormac McCarthy. Maybe dance music for your No Country for Old Men theme party isn't the way to go. But on the other hand, maybe it is. It's entirely up to you. But that's a thing to keep in the back of your mind. And as Kelly was saying about keep in mind that you want a mix of genres, also as you're putting it together, think about how loud it is. That let's assume you have the perfect playlist. If you're playing it while you're hosting the party and it's hella loud, that is a problem, because you do want to make things more conducive to having conversations. And so when you are actually putting it together and playing it, just keep in mind it's a whole lot louder than you think. And that's my experience from radio. When you hear music, if I'm reading the weather and you hear a song under what I'm saying, I'm generally mixing that music, and my urge is to always have it be louder. And then I realize when I go back and I listen to it later, like, wow, that was way too loud. You couldn't pay attention to anything I was saying. Better make it a little softer. So keep in mind that if you're planning on having this music as background music, really make it be in the background.
Being a good DJ is really about reading the room.
I got nothing to add to that.
It's true.
It is.
Don't forget to have fun. I mean, that's the point of making these things. Throw some joy in that music, even if the music isn't always joyful.
Yeah, and keep in mind that there are an awful lot of options for you genre-wise. I mean, let's say, for example, you are having a Harry Potter-oriented party. Well, you could use some of the music from the Harry Potter movies, and I would actually suggest that for the front end, or your first few entries to just sort of set the mood. But then you could maybe pick all songs that are themed with magic, maybe songs that have the word magic in the title or have magic in the lyrics, something like that. But keep in mind, you can also turn to jazz. You can also turn to classical. You can also turn to country. You can turn to all kinds of different genres, and mixing it up that way can be extra fun, particularly if you have people from a variety of backgrounds who like different kinds of music, keeping in mind it doesn't have to all be rock. It doesn't have to all be classical. You can just mix and match from here and there.
Make sure at the end you have a record of the songs that were played. That way, if other people want to revisit the night, they had a really good time, they can go listen to that playlist again. Maybe they even burn a CD of it to have a physical copy for down the road. You never know how people operate, but make sure that that's documented somewhere so people can go back and see it, because they might not remember the fifth song of the night, but they might want to know what it was.
Yeah, or you could go ahead and as you're figuring out where to put your playlist, whichever music service you prefer, whether it's Spotify or SoundCloud or Pandora or whatever, why not go ahead and make up a page where you have that playlist? Then you can just, when you have everybody together for your party in place, give them that web address for that page. So that can be like a souvenir that you get to take. Instead of party favors, you have a playlist that you can look to and look back and remember your party with. So just some of the tips that we have for putting together a great playlist. The bottom line is, if it's something you like, and maybe there's some songs that are really special to you in conjunction with the book that you're reading, things that put you in mind of the book or the characters or the reasons that you love it, you can make music a complement to that. And we want to encourage you to do that.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks. Bye.